yet He cannot equal and make something as simple as a spider's web. You know that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you look at a silkworm, when you look at a bee, when you look at a goat, when you look at a deer, and you realize that all these four animals, all these four things, they eat from the same leaf, they eat from the mulberry. The leaf is exactly one, the color is the same, the taste is the same, the fragrance is the same, yet one eating this, it produces silk. The second eating this, it produces honey. The third eating this, it gives meat and milk. The fourth eating this, it gives musk. When you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you look above you, ash-shamsu wal-qamaru bi-husban, and you look at these great creations of the Almighty Allah, the sun and moon, and you ponder over their fixed courses, the Quran says, لَا-الشَّمْسُ يَنْبَغِي لَهَا أَن تُدْرِكَ الْقَمَرَ وَلَا-اللَّيْلُ سَابِقُ النَّهَارِ. Never will the sun go past the moon, and never does the night outstrip the day. When you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you look at the stars and trees, وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ يَسْجُدَانِ, and you realize that even these stars and these trees prostrate before the Master, prostrate before the Almighty Allah. تَكَادُ السَّمَاوَاتُ يَتَفَطَّرْنَ مِنْهُ, and these great heavens above, even they are afraid of the Almighty Allah. When you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you ponder of the verse of the Quran, وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا يَعْلَمُ مُسْتَقَرَّهَا وَمُسْتَوْدَعَهَا كُلًّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ, and you realize that He provides for every single fish and animal in the ocean. He provides for every bird in the sky. He provides for every creature on land, small or big. You will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you look at this great heaven above you, وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ بِغَيْرِ عَمَدٍ تَرَوْنَهَا, the size of which your mind and my mind cannot even comprehend. Allahu Akbar. And then you look around you, there is not a single pillar to holding this heaven. When you ponder over this, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you ponder of the verse of the Quran, كَمَرَجَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ يَلْتَقِيَانِ بَيْنَهُمَا بَرْزَخٌ لَا يَبْغِيَانِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ هَذَا عَذْبٌ فُرَاتٌ وَهَذَا مِلْءٌ أُجَاجٌ, that He has let forth two seas. One sea is of salty water, the other is of sweet water, and these seas meet together. The salty water meets with the sweet water, but the salty water, it doesn't cross onto the sweet side, and the sweet water doesn't cross over to the salty side. When you ponder over this, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. Open the book of Allah and keep on reciting the verses of the Quran. قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ الْبَحْرُ مِدَادًا لِكَلِمَاتِ رَبِّي لَنَفِدَ الْبَحْرُ قَبْلَ أَن تَنْفَدَ كَلِمَاتُ رَبِّي وَلَوْ جِئْنَا بِمِثْلِهِ مَدَدًا. If on this earth, if every tree on this earth was to become a pen, and all the oceans were to become ink, the oceans would be exhausted, they would come to an end, but the words of Allah would never come to an end. When you realize this, you know greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you realize how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salatu was salam right from the seabed, in the darkness of the ocean, in the darkness of the night, in the stomach of the fish, he calls out, La ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin, and the Almighty Allah hears and responds. When you ponder over this, you know that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you ponder over the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu was salam, how Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he takes four birds, he slaughters them, and then he cuts these birds into pieces, he cuts them into flesh, and then he takes this meat, he puts them on different mountains, and then he keeps the heads under his feet, and then he calls them in the name of Allah. How this meat gets together, and how these birds without their heads come walking to his feet, and then they take their own heads and they place it on their shoulders. When you ponder over this, you know that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. When you look at the Niagara Falls and how it looks like a mountain of water, and then when you ponder over how the sea parted and it gave way to the likes of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israel, and how it became two mountains of water, one on either side, and according to the Torah, 600,000 people make this crossing. Who was holding that water? Mountains of water. When you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for Allah. Huwa al-awwal wal-akhir wal-zahir wal-batin wa huwa bi kulli shay'in alim. He is the Almighty Allah. Huwa al-awwal, He is the first, there is nothing before Him. Wal-akhir, He is the last, there is nothing after Him. Wal-zahir, He is the all high, there is nothing above him. Wal-batin, he is the most near, nothing is more near than him. وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٍ, he is the knower of all things. Ponder over the knowledge of Allah, and khuda qasam, here and now, you will begin to prostrate before the Master. وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ وَلَا رَطْبٍ وَلَا يَابِسٍ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. There is not a single leaf that falls, whether this leaf is in the darkness of the Amazon basin, whether this leaf is in the thickness of some jungle, whether this leaf falls from a tree which is on the peak of some mountain. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the color of that leaf, He knows the size of that leaf, He knows the hour that this leaf fell, He knows the second that this leaf touches the ground. وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ, there is not even a grain in the darkness of the earth, but it is in the knowledge of Allah. Allahu ya'lamu ma tahmilu kullu unsa, Allahu ya'lamu ma tahmilu kullu unsa, wa ma taghidu al-arham wa ma tazdad, wa kullu shay'in indahu bimiqdar, alimul ghayb wa shahadati al-kabir al-muta'al, sawa'un minkum man asarra al-qawl wa man jahara bih wa man huwa mustaghfin bil-layl wa saribun bin-nahar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what every female bears and by how much these wombs fall short or exceed. Everything with Allah is within a due proportion. He is the knower of the seen and the unseen, the most great, the most high. Sawa'un minkum, it is equal to him whether one of you conceals his speech or whether one of you declares it openly, or whether one of you goes hidden by the night or goes open by the day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it all. Ya bunayya innaha in takum miskala habbatin min khardal fatakun fi sakhratin aw fi samawati aw fi al-ardi ya'ti biha Allah inna Allah latifun khabir. Or insan, even if there's something equal to the weight of a mustard seed, and then this thing is inside some rock, in the darkness of a rock, or is inside somewhere in the heavens or the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows of this thing, and He will bring it forth on the day of judgment. Why? وَمَا يَعْزَوْ عَنْ رَبِّكَ مِنْ مِثْقَالِ ذَرَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فِي السَّمَاءِ وَلَا أَصْغَرَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ وَلَا أَكْبَرَ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. Because nothing can stay hidden from Him, even if it is equal to the weight of an atom, or it is smaller than this, nothing can stay hidden from Him. Why? Allahu ya'lamu, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. He knows what enters the earth, He knows what comes out from the earth. وَمَا يَنزِلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَمَا يَعْرُجُ فِيهَا, He knows what descends from the heavens, He knows what ascends to the heavens. Never mind this, رَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِكُمْ, you sit here before me and you think you know yourself. The Almighty Allah knows you better than yourself. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةُ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ, He even knows the fraud of your eyes and what your heart conceals. You sit here listening to the reminder as I address you, and the thoughts that are crossing your mind, the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knows these thoughts before they even cross your mind. This is the Almighty Allah. And when you ponder over the greatness, when you ponder over the knowledge of the Almighty Allah, you will bow down in prostration and you will recognize that greatness belongs to the Almighty Allah. Look at this earth that you live in. Allahu Akbar. Look at the size of this earth. Look at the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created inside this earth. Then ponder over at the speed at which this earth is traveling at this moment in time. As you listen to the reminder, yet you are firm on this earth. It has no effect on you. When you ponder over this, the speed at which it's traveling, and it has no effect on those that live within it, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. Look at this sun above you. It is a sunny day. Ponder over the sun. Look at the size of the sun. Look at the diameter of the sun. Look at the core temperature of the sun. Hundreds and thousands, hundreds of times bigger than this earth. When you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. Then when you ponder over the solar system, you ponder over these planets that you learn about in schools: Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Pluto, Venus, these planets, and then you ponder over that our solar system is 30,000 light years away from the center of the galaxy. You realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. After this, when somebody tells you that there are solar systems bigger than our solar systems, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. And then when you ponder and you are informed that there are millions of galaxies within the universe, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. And then when you are informed that you sit here right now, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ, that at this moment in time, as you listen to the reminder that this universe as it stands is being expanded by the second, when you ponder over this, you realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. And after this, when somebody tells you, after this, there are 7 heavens, بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ الدُّنْيَا وَالَّتِي تَلِيهَا 500 عام. The distance between the first heaven and the second heaven is of 500 years. The distance between the second and the third is 500 years. The distance between the third and fourth is 500 years. The distance distance between the fourth and fifth is 500 years. Fifth and sixth is 500 years. Sixth and seventh is 500 years. Allahu Akbar. You will recognize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah and Allah alone. And after this, if somebody was to tell you, after this comes the kursi of Allah. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَا يُؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. The distance between the seventh heaven and the kursi is of 500 years. And all these heavens put together in comparison to the kursi are nothing. They're like a ring in the desert. After you will, when you ponder over this, you will realize that greatness is for the Almighty Allah. After this, if somebody was to tell you, after this comes the arsh of the Almighty Allah, the arsh of the Almighty Allah, the seven heavens and the kursi put together in comparison to the arsh of Allah is nothing. It's like a ring in a desert. When you ponder over this, you will realize that there is greatness for the Almighty Allah. Then when somebody tells you that after this there are angels carrying the arsh of Allah, and such is the state of these angels, رؤوسهم قد جاوزت السماء السابعة, their heads are above the seven heavens and their feet are firm in the lowest earth. ما بين شحمة أذنه إلى عاتقه مسيرة 700 عام بخفق الطير وهو حديث صحيح. And the distance between the earlobe, Allahu Akbar, look at the distance between our earlobe and our neck. It is nothing. The distance between the earlobe and the neck of these angels is such that it would take a bird 700 years to cover this distance. When you ponder over this, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. After the arsh, when somebody comes and tell you there are 70,000 wells of nur and darkness, when you ponder over this, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. And all this, what I've told you now, and what I've talked about, the heavens, the earth, the solar system, the galaxies, and the universe itself, if somebody was to tell you, Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has such power that all that I have mentioned, He can put it to an end within a trillionth of a second, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then when you ponder over the day of judgment, and you ponder over the verses of the Quran, وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ, that the whole earth, Allahu Akbar, this earth will be grasped in His hand. Can you imagine like holding a tennis ball and playing about with it and throwing it up and down? This earth will be grasped by the Almighty Allah on the day of judgment. And these seven heavens, which I've just told you how big they are, your mind cannot get over this. My mind cannot even comprehend the size of the heavens. The Quran says, وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ, that these heavens will be rolled up in His right hands. And the Almighty Allah will say on the day of judgment, أَنَا الْمَلِكُ أَيْنَ مُلُوكِ الْأَرْضِ, that I am the king. I am the king of all kings. Where are the kings of the dunya today? Where are your Gorbachevs? Where are your Bushes? Where are your Blairs? When nobody answers, everybody will be dumbfounded. Everybody will be speechless. Everybody, their heads will be on the floor. There will be prostration. When you see this on the day of judgment, you will acknowledge, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest, and greatness is for the Almighty Allah. Then when you think of the Hashr, when you think of the resurrection, how the Almighty Allah will bring back every single creation, every single thing that the Almighty Allah has created, how He will put it back together. فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنْظُرُونَ. When you ponder over this, you will realize that the greatness is for the Almighty Allah. Even if somebody was to drown in the ocean, for example, somebody was to drown inside the ocean, he's died inside the ocean, millions of different fish